Stay connected at Content Delaware.
What do you think the impact is of the 24-hour news cycle with, the networks striving for ratings, even small radio and television stations doing the same thing? Something has to be hard news all the time. How do we break that cycle and get some reasonableness into things?
That's a great question. Part of it, we need to sustain a core of experienced journalists who have a longer-term view, who want to build relationships, who aren't simply trying, as you put it, to get the gotcha story that gets them the ratings bump of the day. And the 24/7 news cycle where young journalists are being pushed to constantly break something new, to constantly take some new angle, isn't positive in that regard. I have been trying to sit down one-on-one with a few journalists, get to know them on background, get to explore what they're interested in covering, what I'm interested in working on. And in certain subject matter areas like the Judiciary Committee, the Supreme Court, intellectual property, where I've met with a few folks, that's possible. But in general, I'm very concerned about it. We saw in a number of election campaigns, and the one that I was just in is one of them, individuals who came from literally almost out of nowhere and were able to raise huge amounts of money because of their very narrow access to a particular cable station or organization that then nationally was able to raise very small amounts of money that cumulatively for Delaware scale was a lot of money. This has been steadily increasing over the last decade. The last couple of presidential cycles, the amount of money raised over the internet and through cable news has gone up and up. Unfortunately, to get one's base or one's motivated donors spun up, that then encourages candidates of both parties all over the country to engage in campaigns that are more sharp, more invective-based, more extreme, and it discourages people who are centrists from continuing to run. We've already seen announcements of members of the Senate who are not going to run again. Kent Conrad of North Dakota, very experienced, thoughtful senior chairman of the Budget Committee, someone who we really need in the Senate at this point. He is going to finish out the next 2 years, but he's not going to run again. And I took that as not a very encouraging signal.
Tell me, are we in for gridlock for the next 2 years with the House controlled by Republicans and the Senate controlled by Democrats?
I hope not. The story of the lame duck was that we had 5 weeks of pretty vigorous gridlock in which there was nothing was moving. It was all cloture votes. It was all these sort of show votes where each side, each partisan side was taking tougher and stronger positions. Once we worked out a bipartisan compromise on the tax package, that opened up the possibility for a half dozen very important bills to move through the ratification of the new START arms treaty with the Russians, passage of the 9/11 first responders bill, the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and a dozen other bills that passed that didn't get much attention. One that I co-sponsored called the Competes Act that supports science, technology, engineering, and math education. I'm hopeful that the same thing will happen here. There's going to be an initial flurry of sort of party line loyalty votes where people are posturing. And my hope is that after the State of the Union, the budget, and the beginning of this coming year, a majority of folks on both sides and in both houses of Congress will decide that the average American wants us to make progress, to find reasons to come together in the middle. It's going to be extremely difficult. It may have been, frankly, the time pressure of the end of the 111th Congress and the time pressure of the looming deadline for the tax extensions that made the end of the lame duck so productive, but who knows?
Thank you, Senator, for being here today.
Thanks, John. Great to be with you.